For a little over half a century, we have lived in a culture and time that has been synonymous with the television. But, as nearly all forms of media turn digital, a new force has become prevalent in our lives. This voice, this prophet of the third millennium, this technological John the Baptist has a name, and its name is the Internet.
NBC News in depth tonight, more from the Super Bowl of high technology, the computer convention here in Las Vegas, a look at a part of the computer world that we've all been hearing a good deal about, but many of us still don't really understand. It's called the Internet.
The Internet is a network of networks that consists of millions of private, public, academic, business, and government networks of local to global scope that are all linked by a broad array of electronic and optical networking technologies.
Send emails, make calls over the internet, and discuss topics we take an interest in.
In the book, The Empire of Mind, it is stated that the Internet gives the audience newfound ability to move beyond simply reproducing ideologies and create the cultural foundations for a new social order. But the Internet is not just a technical thing. It is also a cultural phenomenon capable of reacting to forces acting upon it to a much greater degree than could older analog media. It is therefore evident that while we sit in front of the computer screen and engage with the Internet, we are redefining human behavior and in turn reshaping our cultural identity. Cultural identity is defined as an individual's sense of self, derived from formal or informal membership in groups that illustrate our knowledge, beliefs, values, attitudes, traditions, and our ways of life. Psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi of Claremont Graduate University believes that the Internet's easy accessibility to information, especially in the globalized world, is that individuals are less likely to pursue new lines of thought before turning to the Internet. Due to the Internet's decontextualized nature, the net satisfies immediate needs at the expense of deeper understanding. Renowned author Nassim Taleb stresses that while the Internet is flooded with information, it positively affects individuals. The way the net does this is by instilling the mind to distinguish between important and secondary matters, knowing when to prefer pure logic and when to let common sense dominate. As our thinking as individuals has changed, so has our identities as cultural beings. This is evident with the occurrences in the Republic of China and throughout the region of the Middle East.
Hey Bree, how's China doing?
China's good. It's a different way of living for sure, but it's been good.
Yeah, we've been having problems trying to get a hold of you. Is there anything wrong with your connection over there in China?
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned actually a lot of websites like YouTube, when I want to listen to music, I can't even go to the website for some reason. It seems to be censored.
It has become widely known that China has been censoring a large portion of Internet websites, including Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, as they deem these sites, along with others, to be unhealthy.
The Berlin Wall symbolized a world divided, and it defined an entire era. And the new iconic infrastructure of our age is the Internet. Instead of division, it stands for connection. But even as networks spread to nations around the globe, virtual walls are cropping up in place of visible walls. Some countries have erected electronic barriers that prevent their people from accessing portions of the world's networks. They've expunged words, names, and phrases from search engine results.
The Internet itself can become a tool of repression, where the monitoring of communications, the censoring and filtering of information, and the amassing of immense databanks of information enhance the ability of repressive governments to restrict the freedoms and basic human rights of their citizens. Unlike the Republic of China, countries in the Middle East, including Kuwait and Iran, are using the internet as a means to redefine themselves, their cultural identity, as well as political and religious ideologies. The internet has become an important component of life in the Middle East, for it allows people of the region, particularly women, to communicate freely, access information quickly and inexpensively. In this way, the internet allows Iranians to overcome the barriers of social class and gender segregation that have been imposed on them since the Islamic Revolution in 1979. Open interaction between the sexes is almost unthinkable. A major success is the fact that women in Iran are very involved in blog writing. All information about a woman's life was to stay under the cover of veils, walls, anonymity, and secrecy. In this way, their identity has been altered, and the new modes of talking about the self break the tradition of discretion. For the first time, individuals are able to reveal things about themselves which were once masked out of fear. For some, the internet has become a public space where, for the first time, individuals are able to express a new identity. For these countries, the internet has become a very powerful tool, especially in places which are in dire need of change. As Dr. Michael Strangelove put it, the internet's ability to facilitate communicative action and collective protest cannot be easily dismissed, especially the internet's inherent capability of challenging elite authority. With that said, the internet has become somewhat of an emancipatory instrument. The internet's place in Iran and Kuwait serves as an example of this function, as civilians have the ability to use the web to express their ideas and beliefs freely to the world, while for others the internet serves as a reminder of regulations in place for protection from American imperialism at the cost of basic human rights. As these regulations and penalties become severe, a mentality of self-censorship may crowd the identity of the Chinese. What is important is that we are talking about identity as not something that is inside us, but something that we communicate with the outside world. And because identity is communicated, the means of communication, the medium, becomes an important site of consideration today and for the future.